At the August 25th meeting, the Lansing City Council updated the process for deciding who gets city contracts over $15,000. Council also does some self-regulating to update attendance and punishment rules for missed meetings. Public comments include both angry and appreciative stances on trash collection, consolidation, and plans for unhoused residents. Welcome to What Lansing Council, a podcast transforming Monday night's Lansing City Council meetings into an enthralling recap. I'm your host, Jill Dombrowski, and today my very special guest is Senator Sarah Anthony. Sarah Anthony is Senator of Michigan's 21st District, which includes all of Eaton County and 2/3 of Ingham County. She has previously worked as an elected Ingham County Commissioner and State Representative. Now a Senator, she is the chair of the Senate Appropriations Committee. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Awesome. For additional introduction, can you describe Lansing in your own 1 to 3 words?
The first is it's home. So I was born and raised here. My parents are here. My siblings are here. My nieces and nephews are here. So it is home.
Nice.
The second is that it is community.
Mm-hmm.
So community being it's very connected. I feel connected here. Everyone is just connected in some powerful way, for good or for bad. And Lansing is quirky. Yeah. Our community is just interesting. It's odd. It's weird. And that's kind of describes me.
Wonderful. So happy to hear that. And what is something you love about Lansing?
Oh, let me count the ways. One thing I love about Lansing is that it's always changing and evolving. Mm-hmm. I always want us to be progressing as we are changing, but I love the fact that when I describe a restaurant, a park, a community event, that even those things always reinvent themselves. Mm-hmm. You know, restaurants start to present new ideas, new concepts. Parks find creative ways to meet the needs of people. So I'm just always fascinated by our community's ability to reinvent itself.
Yeah, the evolution of Lansing.
Yeah.
And what's something you'd love to see change in Lansing?
Honestly, I would love for us to change our attitude.
Yeah.
Too often, positive things are met with so much opposition. And I am very well aware. I've been in politics for almost 20 years. And so I'm very well aware of all the negative, all the bad, all the things that are preventing people from thriving, for living a full life. Mm-hmm. Systemic racism, poverty, housing segregation, food insecurity. This is a very heavy time for our country, mm-hmm. and our community is not divorced from that.
Yeah.
But I just get so frustrated by so much negativity that tends to lead conversations as opposed to us looking at all the positive that's around us and building upon that. So if I had a magic wand, I would ask our residents and people who visit our community on a weekly basis because of our state capitol and other reasons for us to look at our community from a positive lens, from a place of pride. Mm-hmm. So that would be what I would hope.
I love that. You can't do it if you don't try.
That's right. That's right.
Great. So now I want to hear about the budget.
Mm-hmm.
Where's those dollars? Are they coming? What's happening?
I have no idea. We have been negotiating for quite some time now. This is my third budget that I have had the privilege of leading the process. And unfortunately, the House, which is currently led by Republicans, has not begun to truly engage in negotiations. The Governor Whitmer, and the State Senate have presented balanced budget proposals. It was not until this week that the House has presented theirs, and it is wildly irresponsible, cuts lots of programs for food, public safety, things that people really rely on that they have cut or just reimagined in really destructive ways. And so the art of negotiating is trying to find a middle ground, but with only a few weeks left until the budget, until state government shuts down, it's going to be hard to find that consensus because they waited too late, mm-hmm. and because we're so far apart on the priorities that we're interested in. So I'm going to be in the Capitol. So for folks in Lansing, when they see that little light on the third floor, they should just wave and send good thoughts.
Will do.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Hoping for the monies to come to people and for the government not to shut down.
That's right. And I'll also say the lion's share of state workers live here, live in our community.
Oh, yeah.
So either in the city of Lansing or in the suburban areas. And so people are watching, people are paying attention because their paychecks are connected to what we do there. The services for their children and for elders. I mean, it's all connected, but we in Lansing feel it in a different way than our neighbors in Grand Rapids and Muskegon and Detroit. So I'm working really hard, and I keep Lansing in my heart when I'm doing so.
Thank you so much. And we've heard a lot about the work you've done for getting dollars to Lansing. I'm thinking of the Fish Ladder redevelopment project, Moores Park Pool, City Hall, and you had a hand in all of those projects bringing the capital to Lansing.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah. Honestly, when we started to look at which communities got what from the state's budget, Lansing always just got left behind, and we're worth it. Again, you talked about what I would change.
Yeah.
I would change that, people in the capital don't overlook Lansing. And so we spent the last couple of years reimagining what investing in Lansing looked like. And it wasn't just, housing development, City Hall. It was also nonprofits like All of the Above Hip Hop and the Mikey 23 Foundation and placemaking. I mean, people want arts and culture as well as housing and human services. And I just felt like, again, Lansing is worth it.
Yeah. That's amazing. We love All of the Above. My kid goes to one of their classes.
Oh, great.
Yeah, she has done like the, a friend calls it the coffee grinder move, where you like spin your leg around on the ground. Like literally everywhere we go, she's like, look at me. She'll do it. So,
I would need Epsom salt to even try. Yeah.
I'm really hoping in this next session she learns like a second move, because people are like, oh yeah. And then it's like, that's it. Yes.
That's it. I feel her.
Got to start somewhere. Okay, so talking about Lansing City Council, what would make you say, oh my God, way to go, Lansing City Council? What's like the most amazing thing you could imagine coming out of Lansing City Council?
Yeah. To be honest, I think having a council that was setting out a vision for Lansing that was connected to our regional vision. Right now, when I've been asked to fight for funding from the state, oftentimes it's just sporadic investments. It's not connected to any real coordinated vision.
Yeah.
And so we know that while like many of us live in Lansing and love Lansing, our region is connected. Delta Township, Delhi, Charlotte, Bath, it's all connected. And our city is the anchor.
Yeah.
And so I think I would be so excited if our city council helped to lead a regional vision and then help to coordinate services and resources as such. But right now, I think all of the city councils and townships boards and commissions are just kind of doing their own thing.
Yeah.
And if we have a scarcity mindset and we're only looking out for our own, that's what you get. You get disaggregated services. You get folks seeing things, kind of disorganized and things not looking the best and things not feeling really inspired from a regional perspective.
Because it is disorganized.
It is. Yeah. And I think we have really amazing leaders on the city council that have the innovation and have vision. But as a council, having a unified vision that they could then go out and sell to the region, I think would be super awesome.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to run for city council.
I do not. You heard it here first.
Fine.
I'm announcing I'm not running for city council.
Talking about like how hard it is to work together and all of that, could you tell me a communication success story? There's a lot of ways. I feel like people are like, oh, that's like so many ways to be communicate and connected, but it still is like very hard. How can we do better? And what have you found work?
So I don't know if you can tell, but I love people. And I love talking, and I love talking to people.
Amazing.
And so,
you're such a good podcast guest.
I could just be sitting here like this.
Yes.
Anyway, but honestly, meeting people where they are is becoming a lost art. Oftentimes politicians want people to come to them, come to their coffee hours. But what if that's not the most comfortable, most accessible way for people to hear, engage, and learn?
Yeah.
And so I have tried everything One of the success stories that I have from my time in office has been engaging young people. So right before the pandemic, we started pizza hours in the schools. So, we have coffee hours. The average age is 65, 70, which no shade. Love the citizens of Lansing and over the region who come. But we never got young people.
Yeah.
And we often talk about what kids prioritize, what they need when a young person is killed because of, some altercation in our community. We often wag our fingers. We blame the parents. We say thoughts and prayers. But who's actually engaging them directly?
Sure.
And I work on policies on behalf of kids all the time. But we weren't directly connecting to children. And so we decided to go to the schools, provide pizza, give an hour, and whoever would come. And it would be packed.
Nice.
And kids would just either listen or would just talk. And they would give me insight into what they were feeling, what they were struggling with. And I could educate them on how to be good citizens, even though they couldn't vote, how they could actually still engage in politics.
Yeah.
That felt like a way that I was able to communicate, but also listen and take some of their ideas into the halls of power.
Amazing. Listening and food.
Yes.
They go together so well.
Carbs. Carbs will do it.
Sure will. Great. So now let's talk about the Lansing City Council meeting from this Monday, August 25th. We're starting with the Committee of the Whole. So they have two meetings. They have their Committee of the Whole, and then they have their regular meeting. For the first time ever, I made a bingo card for the meeting.
Okay.
And I brought it. And if you want to know the results, you can check them out on my Patreon page. And I also have a map of the issues that can be found there as well. So at the meeting, we have all counselors present. And they are Ryan Cost, the president from the 1st Ward, Jeremy Garza of the 2nd Ward, Adam Hussein of the 3rd Ward, Brian T. Jackson of the 4th Ward, and our at-large members are Jeffrey Brown, Tamara Carter, vice president, Trini Pelivanoglu, and Peter Spatafor. Also at the Committee of the Whole, there's Sherry Boak, the recording secretary, and attorney Gregory Venker. So we begin with one public comment by the president of the Friends of Lansing's Historic Cemeteries. The city has mismanaged the sale of a portion of North Cemetery to a contractor. The sale of a small property was intended to generate some money to spend on cemetery maintenance, but through the bungled process, it hasn't gone well. Basically, this commenter says, "Shame on you. We've lost money because of government incompetence." And then Emily Stevenson of the Parks Department is there to give a little more background on the sale of the cemetery property. So council needs to approve a specific sale now. The ability to sell this property was approved by voters a few years ago. And Stevenson says it was recently appraised at $8,000, but the best offer they're getting now is for $3,000 this time around. So is that cool with everyone? And they're like, yeah, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's happening.
Okay. Okay.
Next, Clerk Swope gave a brief presentation asking council to approve new clerk office building address for voting to take place there. It is on West Jolly Road in Ward 2. They were fine with that. And then the Lansing Economic Development Corporation Director, Chris Klein, gives a clear and dry overview of state development incentive programs that are meant to encourage progress by reducing property taxes for many years for new or redevelopments. And these are brownfields, Oprahs, those sorts of things. So we're really, I think, Cost asked Klein to give this presentation, and he's really trying to educate people about how these are good. Like, these are important programs for Lansing to move forward. So there's been a change in the brownfield program recently to include housing projects. I guess previously you couldn't redevelop places for housing, and now you can. And we've seen a lot of these kinds of projects coming through the Lansing City Council into the area. Councilmember Jackson says, what are the pitfalls of these programs? And Klein says, yes, well, we've gotten better at reviewing the proposals that come to us. The Lansing Economic Development Corporation, they're there to like help foster big programs along, big projects along. So we want to make sure that the proposals that come before us, they really need the incentives because sometimes it can be hard to know. And Councilmember Hussein, he's struggling a little bit to ask questions because he has a very scratchy throat. And at one point he sneezes, and Councilmember Garza douses himself in hand sanitizer.
That's awkward.
Don't sneeze on me, Hussein. Hussein wants to know about a very specific property in Ward 3, and we heard a public comment on it in the last meeting. It's an abandoned trailer park just south of 96.
Life O'Reilly.
Yes.
I remember it well.
Yeah, so nothing's happening there. But Chris Klein says, yes, we have had some interest in the property recently. So Hussein's happy to hear that. And Hussein also asks, are there any checks to make sure that the development is going to plan when they do get these breaks?
Sure.
These tax breaks. And Klein says, well, it's somewhat self-regulating, so not super great checks.
Sure.
But, we do our best as the projects go along, and construction delays are usually the biggest factor in when projects don't go to plan. So budgeting for delays. Then there was a great ovation update from founding director Dominic Cochran. He was a very enthusiastic presenter, all smiles through the whole presentation. It's really brought the energy up.
Good.
The ovation is a planned 2,000-seat performance space on Washington in downtown. And I guess there was a recent story about how tariffs were putting that project in jeopardy. And Cochran was like, nope, it's all great. We're still fundraising, and we're on track for a Q1 2027 opening. He wants to build something of architectural significance, but the plans have been visibly scaled back since a January presentation. Peli Vanaglu was excited to share that she knows all about the design-build methodology that they are hoping to employ for construction management. Any thoughts on the ovation?
I love it. We fought for some state funding to help with some of the gaps. So I'm just excited. We've been talking about it for so long.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Let's go.
Keep the energy up.
Yeah. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive.
Next was kind of a pedantic discussion around an ordinance change by council to punish council members who miss meetings. Do you have anything like this at the state level? What happens if you miss a meeting?
Not much, unfortunately. We have had instances of chronic absenteeism in some of the members, but ultimately we have just decided that the citizens decide when to fire people. So if they don't show up and the people say that that's unacceptable, they have their vote.
All right. Well, at City Council, if you miss 5 meetings, you'll be kicked out now.
You'll be kicked off the City Council?
That's what this new ordinance is.
Really?
Oh. Yeah, how about that?
What do the people think about that?
Well, there was one comment about it, and they said basically, I think what you're saying, the city council shouldn't have the power to kick other members off. You're elected by the people who you, are representing, so they should be the ones.
Yeah, and in the legislature, we've had folks with medical emergencies and there are instances in which you
5 unexcused absences.
Oh,
yeah, so
got it.
And this ordinance also laid out what an excused absence is. So as long as you have a good reason, then that's okay. Got it. It also punishes you for missing board committee meetings, so not just council meetings. And Vice President Carter wanted to add outside boards to this ordinance. She was like, those matter a lot too. And for full transparency, I think those should be added to this. And folks were like, well, those aren't covered by the city charter. And we're kind of doing stuff that's in the charter right now, but we think that's a good idea. And Hussein added different boards have their own bylaws and ways to deal with absences.
I was a county commissioner, as you mentioned, and holding down a full-time job and also being a council member is really difficult. It is. There's so many hours in the day.
Sure.
And it is more than a full-time job to be responsive to citizens, read the packet, understand the issues, and, do all the community work that's required. Yeah. And so I feel some level of empathy for the council members who are trying to juggle it all. And maybe there's always the conversation around the timing of meetings. Yeah. making sure that it's not interfering with people's livelihoods.
Sure.
So that's a difficult That's a difficult discussion.
Yeah.
You got to take it seriously, show up and
Yeah.
be present and ready to go. But
Mhm.
they are balancing a lot.
Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, in some ways, like, well, you ran for this, like, you should have known what the job was. But in other ways, like, I think it's good to have people on these boards, on the council who have jobs, so that they are like engaged in the community that way.
That's right.
So yeah. So during this conversation, Councilmember Brown goes down kind of a rabbit hole of hypotheticals of who's in charge of enforcing this in various scenarios. And Attorney Venker takes the first few questions with determined stoicism, but then gets rather annoyed and refuses to be a legal scenario forecaster. Councilmember Hussein tries to rope the conversation back in by saying, I've been in the sticky situation of having to decide if an absence is excused or not, and I'm looking forward to some clearer rules on this. And at the end, Carter says she hopes that the ordinance is used as intended to maintain the integrity of the body and isn't weaponized. I think that's a good point. And I think it's with every legislation, people can interpret it differently.
That's right.
That's right. Tricky.
And I always try to look at things through an equity lens, right? So thinking about people who want to serve, to your point, but do need to work full-time jobs in order to provide for themselves or their families. And you don't ever want a situation in which you are narrowing the pool of who can serve their community. I mean, yes, people research, they somewhat understand the time commitment. You really don't know until you get in there. And then you think about all the boards and all the committees. And so it is, it's a conundrum. It really is. But again, keeping the process as open to different groups of people as possible from different backgrounds and income levels and experience, that's what you want.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
For sure. And I think as a council member, it would be easy to just let it take over your life, because you can always be doing more. You can always be going to more events, more meetings, responding to more.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you. And the people will remind you that there's always more you can be doing for them.
Is that really difficult for you all the time?
Hard. I am someone who likes to solve problems, and my grandmother, who passed years ago, I was so excited. I was on the county commission and I was running, and she said, well, just remember, baby, you can solve cancer and someone will ask you, why wasn't it AIDS? And every time I present a really cool thing that we've accomplished, someone always says, but what about this? But why not this?
Yeah.
You showed up to 4 meetings, but you missed my 5th one.
Yeah.
And so you have to do the mental and emotional work to know what your personal capacity is and do the best you can.
Yeah. That was really helpful of your grandma to say that.
I know. Early.
Yeah.
Said it early.
Then the regular meeting began.
Here
we are, finally. There was no mayor. Mayor was out. His chief of staff, Mark Lawrence, was there instead. He did a great job. So first, Attorney Venker gives a very thoughtful remembrance of the past city attorney, Jim Schmiertek, who departed this world last Friday. A few other counselors added their remembrances. Schmiertek served under 4 different mayors. He took on the KKK in court and won. He provided the legal framework for the lug nuts to come to Lansing, as well as the GM plant. He loved the city, promptly responded to all of his emails, and was always drinking coffee. President Cost then presented a tribute to the organizer of One Pastor, One School program, which donates backpacks and school supplies to kids in need. And the award recipient said, if you've never had an oatmeal sandwich on light bread, you may not understand the struggles of children in our community. This award recipient also gets my award for the best dressed at the meeting.
Nice.
He had a fitted gray suit with a red, white, and black geometric sun pattern tie and matching pocket square and a formidable white beard.
Okay.
Yeah, he's good presence.
Snazzy.
My runner-up for the best dressed is the city clerk intern in a navy pinstripe suit and brown silk tie with petite paisley print.
That sounds good.
Yeah, there's some good-looking
suits.
Suits.
Suits. Start tuning in for the suits.
Yeah. The mayor wasn't there to tell us about his weekend, so Pelly Vonnegut took up his mantle, mentioning that the school district had a 5K run walk. There were honors to state-recognized archers at the Letts Community Center, and the Eastside Summer Fest was a blast. Then there were many public comments in support of an ordinance change that was introduced in previous meetings to amend the process of selecting bids for city-managed construction projects. Councilmember Garza introduced this ordinance change with words of how this is not about politics, but it's about investing in Lansing workers. From past meetings, there were a few commenters in opposition to part of this, namely that there's a requirement for personnel to have been trained under a U.S. Department of Labor accredited apprenticeship program, and people are like, there's other programs that are also good. The comments on Monday were mostly in support of the ordinance, mostly from union folks, saying that this will protect the jobs here in Michigan. These were from pipe fitters, electricians, laborers, and carpenters. There was one comment against, saying this is about politics. Garza, you have gotten thousands of dollars from union organizations. I think you should recuse yourself from this vote. This is quid pro quo. We can do better. Councilmember Jackson also said it is about politics, same reasons. And he said there's a lot of subjectivity in the scoring system put forth for determining who is the most responsive and responsible bidder. And I don't think this ordinance change is the best way to go about getting laborers and developers and all involved to work fairly together. Well, what's your better idea, Jackson? So Garza says there's a lot of independent contractors who do meet these standards, and we pulled most of the language from this for the scoring rubric from other Michigan cities who already have this in place, and it's working for them.
Okay.
So this passes 7-1, Jackson against.
Got it.
Next, they need to pass the scoring rubric, and City Attorney Venker begins to explain this, but realizes that the most up-to-date version is not the one in the meeting documents. Oops.
Okay.
And they're back to the attendance rule change. Carter, again, is pushing for this external board thing, and they're like, can we take a recess to just add this in so that you're happy? And they're like, I guess. So then there's a long recess for that. And the union workers all head out because they
said their thing.
They said their thing. And after they come back from their recess, Clerk Swope announces that there was a procedural mishap for the bingo card. And that really made my night.
Oh.
But they determined that they cannot just update this ordinance change on the fly, as Carter suggests. So will it go back to committee, or will they just push forward?
Stay tuned.
They push forward.
They push forward?
Yes.
Oh.
5-3. They vote, just let's get this part over with. We can add that other part in later.
Okay.
Brown, Carter, and Jackson say they wanted to go back, but they're overruled by the majority. 6-2, this is adopted. So, great. Brown and Carter voting against, the other 6 are voting for it. So now they've got these rules about attendance. Great. And during the recess, they do get the construction bidding documents squared away, and that goes through 7-1, one being the Councilmember Jackson against it. And then they update some fire code standards. Those are adopted 8-0. No controversy there.
I would hope not.
Yes. Next on to the public comments.
All right.
So, the property owner for a building that has been given the make safe or demolish order says, please give me some more time. This is a historic structure. Once it's gone, these structures can't be rebuilt. Let's maintain our link to Lansing's past. There are obstacles to historic preservation, but I've gotten a Pure Michigan grant, so...
Is this off MLK?
Just be cool. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm familiar with this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. We'll be following.
Yeah. And this person's pastor is also there to speak on her behalf. Okay. And he says, I'm here because a shepherd ought to smell like their sheep. And counsel, it's within your power to help her. That's your job, is to help people. So, do it.
Yeah.
So nice.
Smell like sheep. All right.
That's right. President of the Old Everett Neighborhood Group was there, saying we need a community center in Ward 2. All the other wards have community centers, not us. And he also says you can't police your way out of poor road design. For streets like MLK, we need better infrastructure to protect all road users. And I talked about the comment about the ordinance change and, the attendance thing. And this person also says, so there's a new business, La Mulata, a new restaurant. In the consent agenda, they approved a liquor license transfer for this restaurant. And the commenter said, could you please ask them to post their hours of operation? I would like to go there, but I don't know when they're open. Councilmember Hussein really loves this place. He is having his next constituent contact meeting there this month. Good. So La Mulata, check it out. There's a few comments regarding the folks in the encampment north of Dietrich Park. And these commenters saying, thank you for your quick action with the pods. So in the last meeting, council approved the purchase of 50 little pod units that were in Kalamazoo, and Kalamazoo was trying to create like a temporary housing thing with the pods, but they couldn't they couldn't agree on a location where they were going to go. And so they were selling them at auction, and Lansing pulled together the funds to buy them. So we're going to try to do that here, I guess, is the plan. Okay. And we have not decided on a location. Okay. So we'll see. If we do or not. So the commenters are saying, thanks for doing that, but we need the plan. What's the plan going to be? Yeah. We need a plan before March. How can we help these folks now? And another commenter is trying to humanize the people in this encampment, talking about their lives, their stories, like who they really are. We can't brush their humanity off. You represent all of Lansing's residents, these folks too. Yeah. So please be cool. Okay. And there's one commenter who says, I think we should not put this pod situation on public park property. It should go somewhere else. I think the Life O'Reilly mobile home park would be a good spot. And that's the one that Hussein brought up earlier to the Lansing Economic Development Corporation. And then there's some few public comments about trash. So President Cost put forth an ordinance that would consolidate the trash collection for the city into one city-run service. Yep. But that got pulled, and Cost said because they didn't do a good job of educating the public about it. And one public commenter was like, you think we're idiots? Like, we're not the ones, it's not that you didn't do a good job of, like, educating us. Like, we think it's a bad idea. And we think it's a bad idea because there should be freedom of choice. There are, like, real differences between the Granger and the city trash collection policies. There's other places where the city could be more environmentally sustainable, and I don't think this will lower costs. One person did say, I think this was a good idea, and I hope to see it come forward in the future. Yeah. So
that's so representative of like the diverse perspectives on any one issue. And that's what elected officials have to do, is balance out the people's voices with the information they have. Yeah. That's a perfect example of that.
And it's so nice to see that in action, you know? Yep. But I wish it was for something like a little more, something that really mattered. Like, I mean, yes, trash matters, but like really, this is our biggest thing.
I know. And then you know, when I think about that issue, I think about the wear and tear on our local roads. And when you think about the condition of our roads, the conversations we're having even at the state level about road funding, it's all connected, right? Yeah. And so connecting the dots between how tax dollars are used, the safety component of roads, and then balancing that out with like choice of services, it's a lot. It's a lot to balance.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that's true. So like everything is connected in ways that, you know, people can't even comprehend or understand, or like even one player may not even know where all the connections are, and it takes like everybody coming together. And it's so hard to do that work. It's so hard.
And that's a part of what elected officials are supposed to do, is put the pieces together for people. Folks are busy. They're trying to figure out how to get the kids out the door, fed and clothed and safely. They're trying to figure out how to pay bills, how to make sure the lights stay on. Like, there's so much happening. The least they can do is go to their elected officials and have us paint a honest, broad perspective on the issues that they're tackling and how it impacts their lives. So even the complex issues, that's someone's job. That's ours. That's city council. That's all units of government. That's the job.
For sure. And what's the best way, once you have painted that picture, how do you get that picture out there so people see the picture?
Yeah. People, so this is a different perspective. People know how to find information if they want to. Whether you are a 15-year-old in your room on your phone or a 75, 80-year-old in the room on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
People have a historic amount of access to information.
Yes.
It is having the interest
Yeah.
and an open heart and mind to learning and understanding something new that impacts you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I reject the notion that the information isn't there.
Okay.
When people want to understand something,
Yeah.
they will.
Yeah.
They will find it. And I think it's up to leaders, not just elected leaders, but community leaders, to present the information that's honest and continue to find better ways to, give more information. And critical thinking is something that I try to encourage folks to do, because there's so much misinformation out there.
Yeah.
That being able to discern the information that they're receiving
Yeah.
is another component of that. But
Yeah.
it's out there.
Mm-hmm.
People, their stuff isn't hidden. And if you can find the latest TikTok video, if you can find the latest recipe about how to make zucchini bread, you can find out what is on the agenda at City Council.
Yes.
I promise.
I love that.
I promise.
That's awesome. Yeah, and the last comment was about the 311 line. Lansing has this one-stop call center now, and this person was saying, it's not great. I'm leaving messages into the void. I'm never getting any confirmation that I've even reached the right person, so help.
I'm glad they came.
Yeah.
So often, political folks, leaders, we build these things. We build systems that, with all good intentions, designed to help people.
Mm-hmm.
And then you hear that it's not doing what it's supposed to do. We have to be humble enough to know, here's where the gaps are.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's user error. Sometimes it's like something's wrong with the system. It's just not working.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if that system's funded with tax dollars, knowing that it's not reaching the intended audience is really important. So
Yeah.
I'm glad they came.
Yeah, for sure. That's it.
That's it.
That's the one. That's all the business.
I am glad you attended and were able to give commentary, because I did not watch. I did not watch. I have watched. I've attended. I've presented.
Yeah.
I can't look at it every week.
For
but
sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's the point of this, is to put it together for folks who don't have time to go to the meeting. So,
Love that.
yeah, thank you so much for being here, providing your commentary.
course.
Very helpful. And if you, listener, liked this, please leave a comment somewhere so that people can find it, as well as their next zucchini bread recipe.
That's right.
For sure.
And follow me. Follow me on social.
For sure.
Sarah Anthony 517.
Nice.
That's it. On everything.
Yeah. Anything else you want to plugs or like huzzahs for?
Huzzahs. If you don't like what's happening, run for office.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Participatory democracy, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
We get what we get.
Yes. The next meeting will be in 2 weeks, September 9th, with special guest Delisa Fontaine, the Director of the Neighborhoods, Arts, and Citizen Engagement Department for the City of Lansing.
Ooh.
She's awesome.
She is awesome.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
I'm excited for that. It's so great to see you, meet
Nice
you,
seeing you.
talk to you. Thank you to the Public Media Center for letting us record with you. Thank you for listening. Become a Patreon member, please.
Yeah, seriously, y'all.
It's going to be great. All right, that's it. Thanks. Bye.